Hi, so a little bit of a different video than usual here today. A pickup video, but not for slasher films, but rather video games. Gaming is another big interest of mine beside the horror films, and it's a topic that I might occasionally cover here on the channel going forward. So starting off with a pickups video, going to work very similar to the ones that I do with the slasher films. I'm not going to show absolutely everything that I bought, but just the things I've got something to say about maybe, or the things that I think are a bit more interesting that I bought over the last few months. So let's get started with some, in keeping with the theme of the channel, some horror themed video games. And I'm going to start off with Blair Witch for the PlayStation 4. This might have actually been re-released recently with some VR content. I think initially though it was an Xbox One exclusive, a timed exclusive, but it later came out for the PlayStation 4 as well. I'm quite a big fan of the Blair Witch films, but I held off on buying this for a long time because of the fact that it's first person, and generally speaking I don't get on very well with first person games. They tend to make me feel a bit sick. I get the motion sickness, so I'm not a huge fan of them. This one of course as well, probably taking place in the forest land, in the woods. You might get lost quite a bit, which might make the nausea worse, so I held off on picking it up, but eventually saw it for a really cheap price and I could resist it no longer, so I picked it up recently. Hopefully it won't make me feel too sick, but I do really like the film, so I had to get it at some point. Another horror one, Daymare 1998, the Black Edition, which is kind of comes in this box that you see here. Initially I thought it was a slipcase, but it's actually a box. If I can put it open and show you the interior, we've actually got the regular case with the different artwork, which is just a regular edition. And there's a few extras, a sticker sheet there, and I think a few postcards, if I can pull them out, of the characters. So yeah, a bit of a special edition version here. I think it's heavily inspired by Resident Evil 2. It's like a Resident Evil clone, homage type thing. Supposed to be fairly decent, so hopefully it'll be good. Next one is the Dark Pictures Anthology, Man of Medan, and sorry, one of the games just fell on the floor there. There's it's just kind of like the title would suggest, an anthology, so a series of games. Got a new one coming out, House of Ashes, pretty soon. Made by the same people that did Until Dawn, supermassive games. I've never actually played this one before, even though it's quite an old game now. I was a bit put off because the reception for it wasn't that good initially. There was some fairly negative reviews, or at least compared to Until Dawn, which was highly rated. I have played that one, Until Dawn. I've got the platinum for that, but never played this one, like I say. Also what put me off with this one is that I am a kind of a trophy hunter style gamer, and there's some co-op trophies I believe in this where you have to gather collectibles with a co-op partner, which puts me off. If you know anything about trophy hunters, we don't generally like multiplayer online trophies, and are much the same, so that did put me off a little bit. And also I accidentally read some storyline spoilers for both this and Little Hope, the sequel, or the next in the anthology, so all these things kind of combined to put me off. But this game's so cheap now that I just thought I'd pull the trigger on it and give it a chance, because I'm sure I'll like it, being a fan of horror films. So yeah, thought I'll eventually get around to buying it, and I did recently, so there we go. Next one, not sure if you can really call this a horror theme game as such, maybe more of a comedy horror, Lollipop Chainsaw for the PlayStation 3. It's one of these kind of more rare, hard to find physical copy games for the PlayStation 3. It regularly goes for around about £40 to £50 on eBay. It's also on the Xbox 360, and that version is not as sought after, but this PlayStation 3 version quite hard to find. But I managed to locate it in physical form, as you see here, in a cash converters, a second-hand shop that we've got here in the UK for just £10, so I got a bit of a bargain. It's a good find, so had to pick it up at that price. Next one, and the last sort of horror theme one, is Deathmark, a visual novel style game for the PlayStation 4. I've recently gotten into visual novels. I've played Steins Gate and the Ace Attorney trilogy recently, but really enjoyed both of those, so I've been looking for more visual novel style games. This one quite highly rated, and of course the horror theme appeals to me. It regularly goes on sale on the PSN store, but I don't often come across physical versions of this game, so perhaps it's more of a fairly rare one to get in physical copy, so when I saw it I had to pick it up. Hopefully I'll enjoy that one. Talking about what could maybe be rare games in physical form, maybe this one would be as well. This is quite a new game, only came out 2 or 3 months back. Kazi and the Wild Masks, a 2D platformer. I don't imagine too many of these would have been printed or produced, so possibly it could be one that becomes rare down the line. But I really like platform games. This one's particularly 2D platformers. This one got quite a lot of positive reviews when it came out, a lot of people praising it, so I thought I'd pick it up. I think the masks of the title, you can obtain various different masks that have different properties and abilities during the game, from what I can understand. That might be kind of inspired by Crash Bandicoot 4, which was a game that I really liked, one of my favourite platform games of all time. In fact, played it earlier this year, really liked it. So if this game can be half as good as that game, then it's going to be great. So I'm looking forward to that one. Next one, going to some retro games now. This is an old PlayStation 1 game, Whiz. I only heard about this one recently. I never heard of it before, but it might even be a franchise. So there certainly seems to be an incarnation of this game on the Super Nintendo. And I believe this version was also released on the Sega Saturn, so maybe there's several of these, and I just never knew. But what drew me to this one, apart from the fact that I like platform games, like I say, is that, well, it just looked interesting really, and the fact that the character appealed to me more than anything. Just the rabbit looks kind of cute. But it looks got kind of like a Cool Spot look to it in terms of the visuals. If you remember that series, Cool Spot Goes to Hollywood, that kind of thing. Reminds me a bit of that from the top-down perspective, but one thing that puts me off a little bit is the fact that I think the levels are timed, and generally speaking I don't like being rushed in games, so I'm not sure how I'll get on with that, but yeah, I thought I'd give it a chance, give it a go. So that's Whiz. And we've got an even older one here for the Sega Mega Drive or the Genesis, depending on where you're based. Pugy, one of my favourite games from that console. This is one of the few I've actually played that I'm showing here in the video. I played this many years back as a child. Really liked it. Like I say, one of my favourite games from the Mega Drive. Very underrated platform puzzle game. Ahead of its time really, in the way that it used objects to solve puzzles. Really liked it. It's actually one of those rare games from this console that actually was so large that it used a password save system as well. Normally with these kind of Mega Drive games you'd have to just go through the whole thing in one go, but with this one there were passwords because there were just so many levels to it. But really good game, really like it. Very much recommend it if you've still got access to a Mega Drive or Genesis console and you haven't played it. When I completed the game, actually it did say look out for Pugsy 2, and I've been looking out for it all this time. It just never came out, unfortunately, but it would be great if it eventually did get a sequel, but obviously don't think it's going to happen now, all these years later. Speaking of great platform games, we've got Rayman Legends here for the PlayStation 4. I have played this one, got the platinum for it several years back when it was free on PlayStation Plus, but probably my favourite platform game of all time. It's fantastic, so I thought I'd better add a physical copy to the collection, so picked it up recently for a good price on eBay. Rayman Legends, highly recommended. Got a couple of fighting games now. I do like fighting games, gotten into them in the last maybe 3 years. I generally prefer 3D fighters like Soulcalibur V that you see here. I like things like Virtua Fighter, Dead or Alive, Tekken, those kind of games, as opposed to the 2D ones. But I've platinum Soulcalibur 6 a couple of years back like that. That was my first Soulcalibur game, so now I'm kind of going back through some of the older games. Picked up this one. Now, being a trophy hunter, I believe a lot of the trophies for this are based online, which is not good from my perspective. With it being such an old game, now obviously I'd have to find a boosting partner to do those with. And I've heard as well that it's very laggy, so you need to find someone that's kind of within your region, or so someone, in my case, within Europe, which makes it more further complicated. But worst case scenario, I can't get the online trophies done. I just have to get what I can from the single player. But I really like Soulcalibur 6, so I thought I'd give Soulcalibur 5 a try. Another fighting game now, and this one actually is a 2D one, which I just mentioned I don't really like so much. I'm not as into the pure 2D ones like Guilty Gear and things like, say, Dragon Ball Z, that kind of thing. This one is based on an anime, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. What drew me to this one though is that I believe there's some sort of an RPG adventure mode in it, which sounded intriguing to me, so I wanted to try it for that reason. I probably would have preferred to have bought this one digitally on the PSN store, but it's one of those games that though it does go on sale, it never really goes very much cheaper than the regular price. So if it's based at say £50 normally, if it does go on sale on those rare occasions, it's normally only about £30, so it's still fairly pricey. So I'd like to buy it for about £10, being a bit of a cheap ass. But yeah, I saw this one in physical form for around about £20–25, so a bit cheaper than when it goes on sale, so I thought I'd take a chance on it. Next one, you can tell that I'm a trophy hunter from buying this game, Terminator Salvation from the PlayStation 3, one of the, what was considered to be, back in those days, the easiest platinum that you could get perhaps on the PlayStation 3 console, along the lines of things like Mega Mind and Hannah Montana. Heavily frowned upon by most in the gaming community, but I don't mind going back and playing these easy platinum games, but like I say, an easy platinum by the standards of the day, so by today's standards and these sort of more easy peasy style games as they've come to be known, they've been flooding the market in recent years. Obviously it wouldn't be easy compared to those, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to actually do it, because all the trophies are story based, so just complete the game and you get the platinum basically. But I'm not very good at shooters, and this one's supposed to be a bit janky in terms of that you can get hit through walls, that kind of thing, so it might be harder than it seems, so I'm a bit worried that I'm not going to be able to do it, which would be embarrassing, but hopefully I'll be able to get through it. But yeah, I have played and completed Terminator Resistance, the more recent first person shooter version of the, well, not version, but game from this Terminator world, and I quite like that, so not sure how I'll get on with that one, but we'll have to see. Next one, Cyberpunk 2077, a source of a bit of controversy when it came out due to the broken state that it was released in. It was actually pulled from the PlayStation Store for a while, but I think it's actually back now, but it's undergone a few patches since then and hopefully been improved. Though I have read that maybe some of those patches have actually glitched out a couple of the trophies, so I'm not sure how I'll get on with that. Coming at this, of course, from a trophy hunting perspective, as I will be, but I'll just grab what I can, I suppose. Like I said before, I don't really like first-person games that much, so it's a bit of a risk going for this one, but I'm not really a big fan of Western RPGs either, which I believe this is kind of like a mix of RPG, adventure and first-person shooter, so not really my usual bag, but I thought I'd take a chance on it, and it did come with this nice package, like a slipcase, as you see here. It's got a few extras to it, regular case there, then it's got some postcards, I believe that's a fold-out map of some sort, and then a world compendium, so that's kind of nice. Yeah, so some nice extras. I believe it might have a sticker sheet actually in there as well. Yeah, so it comes on 2 discs incidentally. Sticker sheet in there, so a few nice extras, and I got it from a supermarket here in the UK where I had a money off coupon, so I got a good deal on it, so I thought I'd take a chance. I'm a bit of a sucker for those kind of special editions with the extras, so I'll have to see how I get on with that one. Next one, AI, the Seminium Files, which is one that I picked up because I've recently gotten into visual novels, like I said before. This one's supposed to be really, really good, in a similar vein to the Ace Attorney games, but maybe a bit darker. And it must have some mature content, because you see the 18 certificate there, plus I actually surprisingly got asked for ID when I bought this, despite the fact that I'm in my mid to late 30s, so I was a bit surprised at that, but this was supposed to be quite good, so looking forward to checking that one out. Finish off with a couple of PlayStation 5 titles here. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Had to pick up this one, with it being one of only a handful of PlayStation 5 exclusives at the moment. Normally quite expensive, but I got it a little bit cheaper than usual on eBay, but I was a bit disappointed that there is a slight defect in the packaging. You probably can't pick it up on camera, but there was a little bit of a tear here in the bottom corner, and I tried to repair it with blue ink, but I didn't really do much of a good job of it, and I made it worse if anything. You probably can't see it on camera, but yeah, a little bit of a defect there, slight tearing of the packaging, or the cardboard, or the insert I should say. But yeah, never actually played a Ratchet and Clank game before, which might surprise you, seeing that I like platform games, but had to pick this one up with it being so highly rated, and a sort of a showcase for what the PlayStation 5 can do. I'm currently playing through the Ratchet and Clank 2016 remake on the PlayStation 4 in preparation for trying this, so once I finish with that, I'll move on to this. So I'll be jumping the queue over some of the other games in my backlog. And lastly, another PlayStation 5 one, Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX. Never played any of the Alex Kidd games before. I think they were back on the Master System, which I didn't actually have. But what attracted me to this one is that I think you can, at the touch of a button, switch between the old graphics and the sort of new remastered version, which sounds pretty cool. So I like the fact that you can do that on the fly. That sounds really intriguing to me, so I picked it up for that reason really. I thought I'd take a chance with it. I think the original game might have been released digitally on the PlayStation 3 store as well, but I never actually played it on there either. So it's new. I'm very much new to this franchise, this old school franchise. Came with a keyring, old school manual, very nice. Don't get manuals very often these days with modern games, and reversible cover art, like done like the old Master System, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's it then. Thanks for watching and goodbye.